Hi, I'm Everett's Watercolors. Welcome back to my classroom. Today I'm going to go ahead and talk about these new dot spray and companion fine mist bottles. And today I'm going to go over how to fill them and give you some basic techniques on how to use them. So I'll go over to my painting table and do a little demo for you. Well, today we're going to show you how to fill the bottle. This is the dot spray bottle, it doesn't matter. And what I want to do is put in about an inch of water. And you can measure it by the knuckle on your thumb. About an inch deep of water. Now we take the paint, take the top off. Now we pick the bottle up with the water, and then we squeeze about an inch, and it's going to be an elongated inch. So you squeeze it, it's going to stretch down, let it drop into the water. Okay, and then you put the lid back on, and you shake it up, and then you have your paint in the bottle ready to go. Now what I suggest is you have a spare piece of watercolor paper, and then test the spray to see if you like a little darker or lighter. Lighter, you add a little more water to make it lighter, or add just a little bit more paint to make it darker. Okay, I have the basic set lined up here in front, and what I'm going to do is start picking some colors. So first of all, I'm going to do, I did an outline here of some basic shapes. The first shape is more of a tree shape. So I'm going to start with the dot spray bottle, lemon yellow. Just that simple. Take the dots. Let's see, I'll pick up the green number 1. Another dot spray. Make sure shake it up. And if you want to test it, out for the spray, what I do, I go to my palette. And rather than go into the bucket, I take the palette and squirt it into the palette to see if the color is what I want. And the way, again, I can use that color from the palette. Again, not wasting paint. I can still use that paint in the palette. Now I have the paint in the bottle. So I'll go over here with the green and put those lovely, beautiful dots in there, that little dot pattern. Okay, put that away. Now pick up the blue, shake out the bottle. I can test the spray pattern on my palette. And before I leave the tree, what I do is pick up the bottle with just water in it, the dot spray bottle with water. And what that does is I'll lift it up a little higher now, and what that does, it breaks up those dots into a texture which will look like leaves. Now next thing I do is let that dry. Now, I can always go back in and add more color later, but just to get a start with the color of a pattern. Okay, now the next shape I have here is a tree trunk over here on the right. Now I'm going to use the brush now, a 3/4 inch brush. I'll pick up a little bit of burnt sienna, maybe a little bit of yellow ochre. Rinse out the brush. Pick up a little bit of cobalt blue. You know, I can take this tree shape over here, and I can just go ahead and use the brush to give me the shape I want. And then I take the spray bottle, the dot spray bottle with just water, and what this does is this adds texture to that bark. just by adding the drops of water on top of that. And I'm going to spray out here some drops. And I'm going to pick up a liner brush loaded with some paint from the palette. And I'm going to go up here and I'm going to take that liner brush and I'm going to put that right through that trail of dots. And you can see the rough texture that that water on the paper makes just by dragging the brush through the water. Okay, this section here I'm going to do a rock. I'll mix up a little bit of burnt sienna, a little bit of yellow ochre, and a touch of cobalt blue. And using rough brush strokes to get a nice rock shape. Okay, then I go over and pick up the clear bottle of dot spray with just the water in, and tap it a couple times, and you can see there you got texture already on that rock. And now I can also add in some color. I got a dot spray bottle with some burnt sienna in, and I can add a little bit of a touch of color on top of that to give a little variety. And I've got the dot spray with the cobalt blue, and I can add another color again just to add in some more color and interest to a simple formation of a rock. Okay, now down at the bottom I can make a road. I'll use the burnt sienna, a little bit of yellow ochre, and I'm going to use a dry brush stroke, a broken stroke here, a little more. This is an old road, an old gravel road, and I can pick up that same bottle with the water, the dot spray, straight on there. Again, gives me some texture, and then I can add in color on top of that. This is burnt sienna and a dot spray. I'll just try a little bit of cobalt blue on there, get a little darker spot. So there I've done a rock and I've done an old dirt road using the dot spray bottle. Okay, let me demonstrate here how to interchange the tops. Here I have the dot spray in the with the blue paint. I'm going to take that top off, and I'm going to put the fine mist sprayer, which is the black top. The fine mist sprayer is a black top, and I'm going to clean it out in a bucket. So this was the yellow one, so I go in and I just squirt clean water into it in your rinse bucket. And you can test that on the palette to see if there's no yellow coming out of that. All right, then you take that dot spray, take that fine mist sprayer top black onto the dot spray bottle, and then you prime the pump. Now what I mean by priming the pump, you have to pump it several times, 2 or 3 times, to get the paint to get up into the nozzle. And when it's into the nozzle, then you come over to your paper and then you spray. Okay, and that's the fine mist sprayer on a dot spray bottle. Now sometimes you're going to get little dots sometimes, and what you do there is you take a tissue and you can go in and pick up the bigger dots like that. Now when we put the tops back on, let me clean this up again. Now to put this back into the yellow one, I clean out the top. These are interchangeable. Now let's clean up all the blue. Put that back in where it was. And then I put the blue, put the white cap on top of the blue dot sprayer. Now what I do is I keep the lids, the plastic caps. I put those on top. Now what that I found with experience that keeps the paints fresh, so that when you pick up the sprayer, it'll work automatically. You don't have to prime it again or shake it up. It's ready to go. So the white top is for the dot spray, and the black top is for the fine mist. Here, now I'm going to add a little bit of texture to the ground here. Now first thing I'm going to do, I can take the dot spray bottle, which was a dot spray in yellow, and I can swap or change the interchangeable tops with the fine mist. So now I have a yellow in a fine mist sprayer. And I'll take what I call a shield. It's a piece of old foam board, and to make a more or less a level line, and I go up to it, hang it loose over the paper, and I can practice this on a palette. Okay. Now what I want to do now is I want to add, again, I took the green bottle, which I had in a dot spray. I interchanged the top with a fine mist, and now I have a fine mist bottle with green in it. And now I'm going to take that yellow and add some green to it. And now I have grass. Okay, the last thing I want to show is that, let's say you had a focal point somewhere that you really wanted to have a little bit of special color. Well, here I have opera in a dot spray bottle, and I can go over here and on top of this little demonstration here, I can put in some red flowers. Okay, in summary, what I did here is that using a dot spray bottle, I used 3 colors here, yellow, green, and blue, and made the tree leaves. And then I added just plain water in the dot spray to spread out the leaves. Then I went over and did a trunk with the brush, and I added water to that to give it texture. Then I pushed the brush through the drops of water, and it gives me a rough texture for a branch. And then I went over and I did a rock, and then I added some texture to that by spraying it with just plain water. And then I did a roadway with a dry brush stroke. Then I added water from the dot spray, and I added also dot spray with another color here, burnt sienna and some yellow ochre, to give it some texture. And then another way, I did grass by spraying it with a fine mister. I sprayed it with lemon yellow. And then on top of that, I sprayed it with the green number 1 in a fine mist bottle. Finally, I added a special color, which was opera, which would be, say, an interest or a focal point that you can add to your painting. So those are some of the techniques that can be done, and there are many more I will show in the future, but that'll give you an idea of how to use the dot spray and the companion fine mist bottles. Here I'm protecting the areas by covering those areas with pieces of scrap watercolor paper. Now, using a fine mist sprayer loaded with cobalt blue, I'm going to add some color to the sky. Now I'll go back and wet those white areas with a damp, flat silver brush. And with the fine mist sprayer, add some more cobalt blue. I did this several times to add color to the sky. And then I blend the color with the damp, flat silver brush to even out the color. Here I added a light value mountain range in the background. Then I started mixing the dark value, which was green number 1 and some cobalt, for the middle ground row of trees. And they're painted with a large flat brush. And then I mixed some yellow ochre plus burnt sienna for the road in the middle ground. And I'm going to use the round silver brush to paint the road. And here I'm taking the dot spray bottle again with green number 1, and then also with dot spray with the cobalt blue for this little foreground tree to add some more shadows to the shadow side. Now I'll mix some burnt sienna and cobalt blue for the tree trunk in the foreground using a flat silver brush. Now I'm going to pick up the silver liner brush. I'm going to add some branches to that tree trunk. I'll finally put a mat board on the painting for a look at the final results. Okay, this demo was to show you how to fill the bottle and also how to use them a little bit doing some techniques. Now I have a lot more things to show you, so subscribe to my YouTube channel, hit the bell so you'll be notified of future videos, and leave me some comments. Tell me what you'd like to see, or almost some questions about what you've tried. And let's keep the conversation going. So we'll see you next time. Bye for now.